Hey everyone, Couch Investor here with a late night video for you guys. As you might know, Square earnings was today after the market closed. The stock did not react very well. The stock went down around 6%. Now it's maybe down 5 or 4% or so. So I'm going to go over the earnings report of Square. I'm not going to go over everything. I'm going to go over the big points and then end with my personal opinion and then what I think I will do going forward. So we will start with I'll show you the stock itself. As you can see, it closed the day at $68, went all the way down to around, it went down 8.5% to around $62, and now it's at $65.40, so that's a 4.3% decrease after hours. We might see more price fluctuation going forward. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, help me reach 200 subscribers. We're almost there. We're at 197, and then we're on our way to our next goal, which is 300 subscribers. And if you like the videos, please leave it a thumbs up. It really helps me out and tells YouTube that people like my videos, and it will give me more exposure. So let's dive into the earnings report. So here are the highlights of the report itself. So total net revenue $1.38 billion. That's a 44% increase year over year. Gross profit $539 million, 36% increase year over year. Net income, that's why the stock price went down, a loss of $106 million. We're going to discuss this a bit later, why the loss. Gross payment volume, we're going to see this word GPV a lot. Again, 14% increase year over year. GPV mixed by seller volume, 52% from larger sellers. We see a change here in percentage from different groups. Obviously, this is the biggest group, which is nice to see that it becomes bigger and bigger, because that means, well, the company will eventually earn more money. Adjusted EBIT data, I call it like that, I don't know why. Obviously, decrease of 85% year over year. I'm going to show you later why that is. So we know that in the past few months, we've entered a weird period because of the crisis. So most businesses closed, they couldn't deliver, lost clients, etc., etc. So in January and February, gross profit increased 47% year over year, or 51% year over year, excluding Caviar. Caviar was a company that they sold to DoorDash last year from the 2019 period. During the last 2 weeks of the quarter, our seller ecosystem experienced the significant slowdown due to the impact of COVID-19, with seller, again, GPV, gross payment volume, down 35% year over year. In the first quarter, Cash App gross profit grew 115% year over year. Cash App is basically, in these types of situation, their cash cow, their holy grail. I've highlighted the important stuff. So accordingly, we are not providing second quarter or full year 2020 revenue or earnings guidance, obviously. Instead, we have provided a further update on the latest trends in our business during the month of April. That's going to be all the way at the end. Now, look at this graph right here. Square Online Store weekly GPV. Since the launch of curbside pickup and local delivery, we have seen more than 5 times increase in average weekly GPV for Square Online Store. This compares the average weekly Square Online Store GPV during January and February to the week of April 20, so that's that. We can see a very nice increase, which is very, very good to see. That means some businesses can get back to business. Now, daily average signups for Square Online Store for the 30-day period beginning March 16, 2020 exceeded those for Square Point of Sale for the 12-month period beginning February 1st of last year. Sign up for Square Online Store, including both new and existing Square sellers. Now, before I continue into this this section here, PPP is the Paycheck Protection Program. Is a loan designed to provide a direct incentive for small businesses to keep their workers on a payroll. If you want, I will leave the link to this PDF in the description below. This will save us some time. So here we have launched a new 24-month term loan product to participate in the Paycheck Protection Program, which enables us to disburse guaranteed forgivable loans to small businesses made available by the US government's CARE Act stimulus package. We know sellers need financial support now more than ever, and we are committed to making funds accessible to our sellers through this unique program. Basically, why did they have a loss? Basically, Square decided to help their small to medium business. Basically, every customer that they have that needed help got the help that they needed, or as much help as Square could have provided them, which is very rare to see a company care about their clients that much. Here we can see a tweet from a customer. Thank you to Square for rolling out a streamlined, easy to use PPP application, because apparently I read, if you use the government's one, it takes days or if not weeks to get approved or even get the loan itself. We continue. Even in this period, Square comes out with new ways to innovate and to help their customer and their ecosystem. So engaging with buyers, give and get local. We moved quickly to create and launch the e-gift cards portal experience in only 7 business days. What is this? Is our e-gift cards product provides sellers with a way to generate cash flow. At the end of March, we launched Give and Get Local, a website that lets buyers find and support local Square businesses by purchasing e-gift cards. Basically, people don't necessarily have to buy products from a business. They can buy gift cards and use it later on in the future, but that way the business gets some cash during those difficult times. Next thing, we launched a resource hub with information about Square's COVID-19 response, advice for business owners, and how to navigate this new environment, and details on our contactless commerce features. Obviously, people don't want to get in contact with each other, even with a card or with whatever. So they're coming out and they're explaining what ways they can still do business and continue working. To help existing Square Capital sellers, we also provided temporary relief on minimum repayments for outstanding Square Capital loans. So when you take a loan at Square, you automatically set a repayment, monthly repayments or daily repayments. So here they provided temporary relief on minimum repayments. So let's say the minimum repayments was $100 a year. Maybe now it's 50 or 60 or whatever. Another point why they lost money this quarter, we refunded all software subscription fees for sellers during the month March and April, and have introduced options for sellers to pause subscriptions temporarily based on their circumstances. This helps sellers manage cash flow in the short term while enabling them to easily re-engage with Square once their business is ready to reopen. Again, great thinking, great taking care of their existing clients, and this will for sure help them in the long term by attracting new customers as well through our partnerships with MasterCard, and this is amazing. We also increased the cashback reward for using Square Card at Square sellers to 10% from 2.75%, which is crazy. Now we'll talk a bit about the Cash App, which is their holy grail. Like I said, we expanded direct deposit eligibility from approximately 3 million customers in February to approximately 14 million customers by mid-April, which is crazy. There's been a whole thing on social media, especially on Twitter, celebrities, famous gamers that just tweet, send me your Cash App tag, and I'll send you cash. And that's how like they created a movement. Even Cash App account itself tweeted out, send us your tag and we will send you a gift. I don't know, $5, $10, doesn't matter how small it is, it's the gesture that counts. Cash Apps rose into top 10 overall rankings in the US App Store, which is amazing. After the whole stimulus repayment and tax refunds, whatever, they've made a microsite with FAQs to help eligible Cash App customers understand the stimulus program and how easily it is to receive funds using direct deposit. Basically, you can receive your funds directly on the Cash App, which is even crazier how fast they managed to build the whole ecosystem and make it work. Here you can see monthly direct deposit transacting, active customer. You can see that in April it really rose super high. In the first quarter, tax refunds helped contribute to Cash App's momentum. Nationwide, over 80 million US taxpayers received tax refund on their 2019 return so far, with an average payout of almost $3,000, which is crazy. Now, cross-border payments, again, super positive. Cash App allows customers to transfer money between the US and the UK with no fees and generally faster or cheaper than most banks, retail money transfer services, and other apps. Again, super positive news. In all this bad news, of course, revenue and gross profit. So total revenue again grew, like we saw before. Gross profit grew. Here we saw this again. We see growth, which is great. Subscription and services based and transaction based. Revenue, gross profit. Obviously, Bitcoin goes separately because there's also always a margin which is very volatile that they can only take a small percentage of, depending on the price of the market, of course. So that's that. Gross profit, a very nice one. Now there are two segments we already covered. We said we covered the Cash App. So for the seller side, in March, we took measures to support our sellers during the COVID-19 pandemic, which affected subscription and services revenue and gross profit for our seller business. Like we saw, that's why the stock went down. We refunded all March software subscription fees for our sellers, and beginning in mid-March, we also paused new core flex loans offers for Square Capital. This slowed growth in Square Capital during the quarter. Square Capital facilitated approximately 75,000 loans in the first quarter of 2020, totaling more than $500 million, up to 8% year over year, and revenue growth continued to outpace originations growth. Again, more good news in all the bad news that we've got. I'm not going to all go over this because it's just going to complicate everything. Let's go down a bit more. So earnings, as you can see here, big negative, but hey, now we know the reason why. So the decrease in adjusted EBITDA compared to the prior year period was driven primarily by an increase in reserves. That's the main point, reserves for transaction and loan losses, and to a lesser extent, a slowdown in lesser transaction-based gross profit and seller subscription and services-based gross profit in March. Basically, they said, look, we have to take care of our customers. Let's take a hit. Short-term hit will be long-term gains. That's what I say in every video I do. balance sheet and cash flow. Look at this, very, very healthy. We ended the first quarter of 2020 with $3.4 billion in available liquidity, with $3.1 billion in cash, cash equivalents, restricted cash, and investments in marketable debt securities, as well as $375 million available to be withdrawn from our revolving credit facility. We have a strong and flexible balance sheet and believe that even in a prolonged downside scenario, we are positioned with sufficient liquidity to weather volatility over the next 2 years. They are ready to be in this situation. I don't think we're going to be in this situation for another year or so, but they are ready for another 2 years, which is amazing to see. That's what you want to see in every balance sheet from every company. So, like they said, no guidance for the next quarter and the full year. So here are some trends. During the second half of April, seller GPV growth improved modestly compared to earlier in the month, because the big shock was March, beginning of April. Then some things changed. That's why we see some improvements in some of the segments here. The improvements coincided with existing and new sellers adapting to contactless commerce, the timing of Easter holiday, and government stimulus programs, obviously. Seller GPV from card not present transaction achieved positive growth year over year in April. Card not present volumes include many of our omni-channel products such as virtual terminal, invoices, e-commerce API, e-gift card, and Square online store, which are less reliant on in-person transactions. Sellers GPV from card present transactions was down materially year over year in April, relatively in line with its decrease during the last 2 weeks of March. Completely normal with all the situation that's going on here. Again, we continue by saying we waived all subscription fees and software for sellers through April and offer the option to pause subscription billing temporarily, which enables them to better manage costs. For Square Capital, we expect a modest revenue and gross profit contribution during the second quarter, decreasing materially on a year-over-year basis. We have temporarily paused offers for new Core Flex loans. Obviously, there's a limit to the loans that they can offer in a reasonable time period, of course, and we expect to reassess testing Flex, like I said, loans to certain sellers under stricter eligibility criteria in the second quarter. They have also began to distribute loans during the second round of funding for the PPP. And I think we'll end by saying this, while, again, seller ecosystem, while the number of signups from new sellers has declined as a result of COVID-19, we are encouraged by recent trends which indicate that the quality of new sellers improve. We're talking about all marketing strategies here and their operating expenses. Early data in April suggests that sellers onboarded since the impact of COVID-19 in mid-March were on average larger on a volume and gross profit basis compared to new seller signups in January and February. Now, if we see attractive returns on sales and marketing investment for our seller e-commerce, we may increase and spend to reach new sellers. Obviously, makes sense if they see that it works and they attract better sellers for the ecosystem with larger amounts of yearly expenses. Why not? I think that will be all. Next quarter date is August 5th. By then, the whole situation should be much clearer, I hope. If you want, they have a conference call 2 p.m. Pacific time if you're interested. Now, so for me, if you ask me what I'm doing, I'm holding. If it goes back down a bit more, fine by me. I'm gonna buy even more, because look at it. Bottom was here for sure. That's not gonna go back there again. Might go revisit 63, 61 maybe, no problem. And if it revisit the 40s, 50s, I'm buying a boatload of stock, because for me this whole situation is going to make Square even better, even bigger in the long term. So I'm super bullish on Square. As you can see from the earnings, it's just, if you look at the small picture, yes, they took a loss, but they took a loss to help small to medium businesses thrive and survive this crisis, which would mean that those clients will probably never leave the Square ecosystem, and if they have friends, they will come to the Square ecosystem because they're seeing that the company actually cares about their customers, and that's very, very important because banks don't give a about you. And that will be all for today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, really helps me out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, well, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and let's reach our next goal. All right, everyone, stay safe, take care, and see you all in the next video. Bye bye.